Welcome back to another episode of the Denver Psychic School podcast and show. My name is Andrew Fritz. I'm a co-owner and meditation instructor, and
I'm Heather Fritz. I'm his better half. At least I like to call myself that. That may or may not be factual. I'm also a teacher and co-owner of the Denver Psychic School and also co-host on this podcast until he kicks me off of it.
in that case, get out.
You never know.
No. So today we'd like to talk about something that pertains to, and most of you would probably know about the 7 major chakras in the body. Tonight we would like to highlight the second chakra, the emotional center and sensuality, sexuality,
Creativity.
yeah.
It's located about an inch or so below your navel, and it has to do with feeling energy, also known as clairsentience. And the fun way I like to explain this is like most people, they like to use the phrase, I knew it in my gut. And well, that's where your second chakra is kind of around your gut area. So it's kind of like, I knew it in my gut,
Yeah, it's that.
I love that.
That gut feeling, or I've heard people say like their spidey sense, so that's feeling energy. So I'd like to talk about that and some things related to that.
Some good examples, some bad examples.
Some
ins, some outs, some ups and downs and all arounds and reverses. So
just to speak of it in like, in a general way, like I think we're all sensitive to some degree and notice, feeling energy. We might not call it that, or we kind of notice it kind of, I think you notice it more so. It's always happening, but I think noticing it more when you meet brand new people, when you go to new places, like on vacation,
go on a date or a job interview.
Yeah. It's like if, I tend to notice a lot with grocery stores.
I was just about to say that.
For me, that's just a big one. You go to, and it's not to say any of these are good or bad, right or wrong, or whatever that, but just something I notice on the feeling level is that if I walk into like a Walmart, I'm sure a lot of us have, there's a certain energy to that. Like you feel that, right? But then you go to
Whole Foods.
Yeah, you go to Whole Foods, that's, or a Sprouts, that's a very different energy. It feels very different. So that's kind of what we're talking about. If you're walking down a, kind of weird, creepy alley, in the city late at night, and maybe you kind of get some, weird vibes. And
you're not exactly.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't feel great, and there's probably a good reason it doesn't, feel that way.
Yeah, like, there's a reason for that. Yeah.
Right, but then you go to other places, you go to this nice restaurant, and ooh, I'm really enjoying this vibe. Like, you're feeling that vibe, that energy.
But that's more about like places. I think more specifically, like I want to touch more on like people and how people affect each other, because we're exchanging energy all the time. Like even just like you and me on a married level, like, sometimes I'm letting you know, like, I'm really annoyed with you. And sometimes I'm letting you know, I really love you.
Yeah. And there's also to not get confused, maybe just to highlight this, that like the second chakra feeling is very different from the heart chakra feeling.
Yes.
So like second chakra, it's just a very basic, just I'm feeling a particular energy, whatever it is, from the environment or the people in the environment, or whatever it is you're picking up on.
Right.
Can be different things. But then the heart chakra is more kind of
affinity.
Yeah, but it's usually in relation to other things. It's kind of goes into the how I feel about this particular place or person. So it's both feeling and a little similar, but definitely different. So it's about your relationship to things and how you're feeling about those things. That's the heart chakra level, where it's basic, simple, just I walk into a space and just, whoa, it's just doom and gloom. Or you walk into another space and, woo, it's all rays and sunshine. This is great. Just very straightforward, basic, picking up on a feeling level.
Which one's straightforward and basic, the heart or the second?
The second chakra. It's just, hey, here's what I feel, and that's that.
Okay.
That's pretty much
just to clarify.
Yeah.
Like, which one's the basic one?
Yeah. So before we get into people, that's where it gets kind of complicated.
You don't say.
Yeah. So let's step back actually, just give it some examples. So a couple of years ago,
Mhm,
we moved up to the mountains
mhm,
and we were looking at an apartment that we were potentially going to rent.
mhm.
And the moment we pulled into the parking lot, I think both of us just went, uh-oh, this something feels off.
Yeah, we don't like it here.
Yeah, but that's the thing with kind of working with your abilities or going against them,
Mhm.
and we went against it,
Yeah.
we just kind of just said, hey, we're just gonna go with this. And
Mhm.
we ended up running into some problems with mostly
Everything.
yeah, a lot of things. I mean, the area was a beautiful area.
Oh, yeah.
We're up in the mountains, but as far as the apartment complex itself,
Yes.
especially our neighbors, we ran into a lot of issues. So we could have
Mhm.
probably dodged all of that if we just went with our gut feeling and just go,
Yeah, this is
hey, I'm
it.
feeling this. All right, I'm just gonna trust that, and I'm not
Mhm.
signing those those papers.
Right, and we kind of forced it because like that was the town we wanted to live in, like
Yeah.
that specific area. And we were like, well, this is what we can afford, so we forced it instead of trusting our intuition that like this isn't the spot for us, this apartment complex. Like, we
Yeah.
still wanted to live in that town, and I still love that we lived in that town.
Yeah.
Literally loved everything in that town except where we lived.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it was a really great summer.
Mm,
Yeah. So kind of what we're doing now, something I kind of noticed at kind of going for a little walk in Denver. And we notice a certain area, once you get a little bit far enough separated out from the city,
mhm,
the energy kind of shifts and you kind of
Mm.
feel that. Things kind of there's less of a buzz. It's kind of like simmers down. It's kind of like, you got a pot of water or whatever on the stove, and then you can kind of adjust this,
the temperature.
boiling or if it's just kind of starting to simmer and all that. That's what I noticed kind of going further away from it. And then the moment we hit a certain street and started getting closer to the city, I just felt it smack me right in my second chakra. And I was just like, oh, there it is. That's the line. Okay. And you start to feel the busyness of the city just kind of hit you. You feel it. And then
Yes,
boom, you're in it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
so we're using that and kind of walking around neighborhoods and going to be exploring, different apartment complex. And
Mhm.
we're gonna definitely trust
Or,
our abilities. I'm sure
Yeah.
we'll be feeling it. We'll also use some of our higher abilities in that process because that's what we
Right.
do.
Mhm.
But
Definitely gonna listen to my second chakra a little more this time around.
yeah, absolutely. So that's places. Okay, so you want to get into with people. That's
People
a
a
little
little
more
bit.
trickier, but yeah.
So that's an example where you just use a beautiful example of like energy and feeling it in places. So with people, it's much more different. And I'm sure some of you probably heard this, if heard the word empath before. If you haven't, an empath is someone that is just a massive receiver and feeling everyone's energy around them. Like they could have nothing wrong in their life, nothing's going wrong, having like a beautiful day, and then someone could sit next to them that's having the worst day of their life,
Mhm.
and the empath is going to feel most of that or all of that and match into it unknowingly.
Right.
Like it's not a conscious decision. It's very much an unknowing thing. And you might feel heavy and like sad and you have no idea why.
Mhm.
You're like, oh my God, I'm completely consumed with sadness right now. You ain't got a clue.
Right.
So with empaths, that's more like their second chakra is just at 100% all the time, that they're just receiving all the time. Like their second shot, it's open
Mhm.
and it's just receiving constant messaging. And again, it's not a conscious decision. Once you become more conscious to this, you can notice it and recognize it a lot more. And you can, you're just like, oh,
We can do something about it. If
yeah,
you're unconscious, then how are you supposed to know?
right,
It's
yeah.
just you're just
And that's mainly why we're talking about this, is just so you can like just start having it for yourself, having more knowingness of like that Like, I'm having the best day ever. Why do I feel so flippin' sad right now?
Right. So not basically kind of what you're getting to is kind of not everything that we pick up on a feeling level is actually our own emotions.
Correct.
And it doesn't actually matter, use the case of if you're on a park bench or something near someone and they're having a terrible day,
Mm,
and then suddenly, I'm feeling kind of terrible,
Mm.
So there's that, but it can also be long distance. And
Oh,
that's where
yeah.
it gets a little tricky,
Oh,
because then
yeah.
it's just like, well, I'm not around this particular person,
Mhm.
but you might be, and we can talk about this in another episode, you're kind of.
You can always tell when your mom's upset with you,
Yeah,
whether you live anywhere near her.
yeah, yeah, so you can be energetically plugged in, and you're kind of picking up on what they're kind of going through on an emotional level, and then you're starting to feel a certain way, and it's just like, well, this doesn't, why am I feeling this way? It doesn't even make sense. And that's starting to become aware of, just your chakras, your energy system, but this ability of just like, oh wait, I can feel energy.
Mhm.
I can pick up on different emotions, and starting to become more aware of, okay, whatever I'm feeling right now, is it actually mine or not?
Right.
And that's a key component, is your awareness. Your awareness is very, very powerful.
Oh,
And then
extremely.
things can start to shift.
Yes.
Right. So,
Because, well, the second you're aware of it is the second that you start to separate from it
you can drop.
consciously. Yeah. Because the second you're aware of something, because like I've had it where at work, like maybe my a coworker or a manager is having a really rough day.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I know that's them, but I really don't want to be like low and heavy and really matching in with that. I'm like, it's like, I don't want to make them feel like their feelings not valid. So I don't want to just continue on with my happy larky day, like, like I'm having a great day. Like, you want to continue on that way, but at the same time, it's kind of like, all right, I acknowledge that you're really, really sad. And sometimes I verbally like will tell people, I'm like, I acknowledge that you're having a really rough day. And that way they know that I'm aware of what they're feeling, but I'm still going to continue on being myself. I'm still going to like dance and be like, hey, we're having a good day.
Right.
Hey, let's get some coffee. Hey, like, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to, like, because they're, on a particular channel, it's channel, despair, and you're on channel,
Cloud 9, whatever,
funsies. You don't have to tune your channel to, channel despair, and then kind of
Right.
match to them, and then you're getting kind of, that's kind of sympathy. You're kind of matching with them.
Well, and misery loves company.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's an old phrase, and it's there's
Because some people will want you to match in with them.
Yeah, you have to feel what I'm feeling. I'm feeling, pain and misery. So you got to feel this pain and misery. We got to trudge through the trenches together on this one.
Oh yeah.
And
some people will gaslight you into it.
So you don't have to get in the trench.
Yeah.
So that's when it becomes and we can talk, this is another topic. There's so many topics that we can talk about. But
yeah.
It's hard not to bring other things up in relation to this, but then
Because it's all connected, but yeah.
Right, and then it becomes more about compassion. So compassion would be more like, I just was talking about this before, and I see it this way, and I've heard it described this way, and I like this kind of metaphoric example is like, I think what's in there, like a Batman movie where kind of the newer ones where like this like cylinder stone like pit he's like rock bottom.
Is that the one with Jim Carrey?
No, it's not. Anyway, he's in this like big, like large pit in the earth, and it's all stone, and he has to like build up to actually like climb out of it, which I think he eventually does.
Yeah. This is the one with Bane or whatever. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. It's like, if there's the person, Batman's hanging out, in his despair, and then there might be someone on ground level that's going, hey, I'm feeling pretty good, and there's all the sunshine out here, and looks kind of lonely and dark down there. Here's a hand or a ladder I have, and if you want to, you can climb the ladder,
Right.
take my hand, and you can come up to where I'm at. But
right,
you don't have to get into the pit of despair with them.
right.
And
The
sometimes,
pit of despair.
Yeah.
No, that's really good. It's instead of going to the lower vibration, like try
you
to
stay
help
where
them.
you're at,
Yeah, and have them meet
and they meet you,
Yes,
and
which is much
they
harder to
might
do.
immediately go, wow, yeah, it's bright up there, this looks great.
Hmm,
And they might just climb right out, but sometimes it takes time for them to like work through,
hmm.
feeling like they're worthy of just getting out of this a little more quickly, or
Oh,
whatever they
yeah.
have to go through is what they have to go through.
Right,
But at some point they might go, okay, I'll come up to where you're at.
right. And there are people who dig their heels in and they're like, no, I'm gonna stay here.
And that's fine. Then
And
you
that's
just go,
fine.
hey, I'll still be here.
Right, right. You're like, I'm like, cool, but I'm over here, it's one of those things where it's like, it's not a place of like mean or,
You don't leave them behind.
no, it's very.
It's actually, sorry to cut you off, but
No.
like you're the inspiration, because like you're still like, it's the bright light and that's where you're operating.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like the lighthouse,
Yeah.
like there needs to be that light that someone can go, whoa, I'm out in these rough seas and oh, there's the light. Let me get to that.
Right, let me get to safety, let me get to a
Yeah.
better spot.
So you kind of hanging out there is actually probably a positive thing, instead of you dropping down and
Matching in.
now we got team misery. And
And
so that's not doing anybody any good. So so
team misery.
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
No,
So,
I like that a lot.
yeah.
But there's also the flip side. Like that's talking about where, someone else is in their crap and you're having a good day. So that's kind of been the example we've been talking about.
What if you're the one that's
What if
in
you're the one that's in the pit?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so there is the flip side of that too, because we, being in this, fabulous human experience, we
Yeah,
have
yeah.
our own emotions and
Yeah,
we
we
have
do.
our own low times and
Yeah, we go through things, especially if there's growing pains, in life.
Oh,
If you're, yeah. And you get a little moody, and that's all,
A
totally
little.
normal, yeah. And so then it becomes awareness is always the big thing, just becoming aware of, wait a second, like
Mhm.
I'm experiencing this particular emotion.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, yeah, I get a sense that this is my emotion.
Mm.
This I'm not really feeling or picking up on someone else's, this is mine.
Mhm.
But I think the big key is recognizing that you're not the emotion. It's just an energy. It's an emotional energy.
Mhm.
And just, oh yeah, it's just an energy. And, that awareness, you can start to, instead of kind of putting lighter fluid on it, and dousing and then, making it bigger and bigger, and then you become
Oh,
the
yeah.
anger or whatever the emotion is, and it just becomes larger than life and you're consumed in it.
Yeah, and then you're just in that stirry pot and you're just,
That loop of that emotion.
oh, just
Yeah.
in it. And it really does feel like you're spiraling. It really is just,
Yeah, it can, totally. Yeah.
it's like you're making pudding on the stove and it's getting thicker and thicker.
Ah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so that awareness,
mhm.
and then, usually a sense of detaching from that, and then
Yeah.
you gotta make a conscious choice, right?
Yes.
So, most likely, all of us probably they wanna be up at the top of the ground level where it's sunshine and woo, like there's rainbows and all sorts of stuff.
There's unicorns.
Who
and-
knows? There's a parade out there, whatever it is. It's channel funsies we're talking about here, so. So, if everyone had the choice, they'd go, yeah, I'd like to tune into that channel. I'd like to feel that. That sounds really great.
Right.
And so, yeah, then it is a choice.
Oh, absolutely.
So sometimes we don't underestimate our ability, our intention, the power of our intention, setting an intention, making a conscious choice. Because if you don't make the choice, then okay, well, maybe it just kind of just stays the same. Maybe you're just still in that lower emotion. So
I have a really good example of
Yeah.
this. It just happened recently to me.
Hmm.
I was at work, and of course I work in customer service, so I don't always get the happy people.
really,
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
And I had this lady who was extremely upset on the phone.
Hmm.
And it's one of those people where they want what they want and they don't care what you're saying to them.
Mhm.
And the more you're, saying like, no, this is the policy. They're like, well, I want this, but this is the policy.
Right.
And they're not getting their way. Sometimes they, get in this very petty mode and they
My way
start
or the highway.
and they just start throwing either insults or gaslighting you, or like they start like really attacking like your second chakra. Of course, most people don't realize that's what they're doing, but they are just like just throwing, just
Yeah.
angry and blah, blah, and it's just flying at you, and you're just kind of like getting hit, and it affects you. And this woman was affecting me. She was making me very, I stayed calm, but it was like on the phone, she had no idea. But of course, my face is just like, I'm like, it's taking everything I have to control my tone and not like let her have it or match in with her. Like I'm trying, and I mean, in a way I did match in, but she was unaware of it. Cause you know, over the phone, it's a lot easier to just control my voice. But
Yeah, you might want to just, you kind of drop to their level, and then I'm gonna engage in this battle and give it right back. And
right.
then it usually becomes worse.
Yeah, and that's
Worse
the
as-
doubt, and that's the kerosene on the fire. And I was,
Yeah, so that's because, being aware of what's happening and the choice of how you're gonna respond.
yeah,
That's a huge,
yes.
and that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then there was, I had my coworker next to me and other people at the desk, and they can tell that I'm upset. And to be honest, I was so engaged with this woman, I had no idea there was other people standing there. Like truthfully, I was so like just in this anger with this person because she was just flinging so much at me.
Yeah.
And so when I got off the phone, I just stood there for a second and I'm staring at my computer screen, and my coworker cracked a joke. And it was perfect because it instantly snapped me out. I was like, oh, okay. Because I could tell it was making him uncomfortable, and it was making the other people at the desk uncomfortable. And just having that awareness of realizing like, oh God, I was fuming over here and I was making everyone else in the room uncomfortable. Shit. That was me doing that crap. And so in that moment, I was like, I don't want this. I don't want this. So like I went over to the grocery store across the street from my work, and I grabbed some popcorn, and I came back, and me and my coworker had popcorn at the desk. And that was like, I'm raising my vibration right now. This is a very simple, stupid thing, but I'm going to have popcorn right now, and we're just going to have a good night. And he and I had a great evening the rest of the time. And we did talk about it. He was like, yeah, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I said, she was really a lot to handle. And he goes, man, I'm really sorry about that. Like, hey, but then we had a great rest of the night. He's like, yeah, don't let it get to you, and that's how a lot of people say, like, oh, don't let it get to you. Don't let it affect you. And so that's my example of where I was the one making others uncomfortable because this woman on the phone had attacked my second chakra, and I let it overtake me for a little bit. And then I was making it awkward for other people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can ride the reaction, or you can, again, detach and kind of make a choice of, how do I want to respond to all this? And that's where there's power in that, which is kind of cool. And it sounds like you kind of went the route of tapping into your inner Ace Ventura. Oh, yeah, tap into that. That's.
Heidi,
If you got anything out of this episode, just tap into your inner Ace Ventura. So.
Oh no, maybe that may not be a good thing because you
Oh,
go,
no.
the her.
Yeah, maybe not that part.
Gonna say, I don't know if I want that might not be a good idea either. But no, yeah, it is a give and take. It is both. It is you receiving messages and then also sending messages out on a second chakra level. And if you're aware of what's happening, a lot of it is just taking a second.
Slowing down.
Yes, because most people they feel it, they go with it, they roll with it, and then it just, and before they know it, they're already in this really just, and it is hard. It's not an easy task to take a second and go, what is happening?
Yeah, whatever you're feeling is totally fine. Like reactions are normal, and you have a reaction to something. It's just what you do after. And do you want to amplify that, which could potentially lead to a not so great situation? How long do you want to exacerbate this and turn it? How long do you want to sit in a lower emotion?
Right. Take your power and make a decision of how long you want to be there. Because who wants, really, honestly, who wants to be like, I'm a grumpy butt, I'm going to stay a grumpy butt.
Right. So you can make the choice of, all right, I dropped down some pegs. I'd like to climb back up to, you know, fun or humor, enthusiasm, excitement, joy, like.
Or
you
even
know,
just a mild place. So sometimes reaching that higher vibration is really hard. Sometimes it's like, I can only reach mild right now.
yeah.
That's okay. Like, it's like, I'm not in a happy place, but I'm not in a crummy place either. It's just this good little mild spots about where I can handle right now.
Yeah, it's not that you have to go all the way up to ultimate bliss. And,
Ultimate power.
yeah, it's just get yourself up there a little bit. That's
Right, it's like
yeah.
even just taking a couple of strides towards a more positive emotion, even if mild is as good as you can get, it's still better than
Whatever it was before below it.
yeah,
That's
staying
what
in that lower spot.
Sure.
And
Yeah,
some
absolutely.
another part of it too is like just rehashing it. I know this is something I do. Like something will happen and I'll be like, I'll shake it off and blah, blah, and then I'll move on and then it'll like hit me again later in the day or I'll think about it and then I just start just going down that spiral.
Oh,
So it's one of those like, it can reoccur. And then again, you have to make the decision of going, wait, why am I thinking about this bullarchy again? Like that was earlier in the day, or that was yesterday, or that was last week. Like, so it's a
the
constant.
reruns in your mind. You're
Yeah.
like, oops.
Yeah, because it can always just take you right back. So it's one of those like just having the awareness, like it is so much easier said than done, so much, but it truly is a very powerful practice to just, what is this? Is this mine? Is this something I want right now? And even if it is your own emotion, it's like, wow, I'm really sad about this right now. I'm going to allow myself to be sad about this for another X amount of time, and then I'm going to try to come out of it. Because grief, even grief, it is very heavy and it sits and you're like, those are one of those very low vibrations that are very hard to come out of.
Sure, they tend to, for most people, that's a longer process of working through that heavier
Yes.
emotional energy, and that's all fine. But it is possible that you can work through it quickly, that you can come back.
It is possible, yes.
Yeah, and I think that either way, there's no right or wrong with it.
No.
It's how you want to go about it, but
making
probably
a
like
decision.
yeah, I would much rather go. I'd rather work through it more quickly and step out of it and get back to higher emotions or qualities of spirit, however you want to look at it. I'd rather be there than kind of,
Right.
you know, where.
And that doesn't mean you're healed or you're fixed or that, you know, that energy's not still there or that part of it's over. Because a lot of people want to go through the healing process as quickly as possible. They're like, I just want to get back to normal as quickly as possible. And it's not always a quick process. I mean, you can step out of the emotion. You don't have to live in the emotion, but the healing process is still there. Does that make sense?
Well,
Like,
there's the actual you going through the healing process, which for some might be slow, for some might be fast.
right.
But yeah, you don't wanna, you know, pretend like it's
Not there.
it's
You know
all,
what I mean?
yeah, you don't wanna numb yourself and cover it up and all that kind of stuff. And
Right.
that's not gonna do you any good.
Yeah, say this isn't necessarily like a permission to like go out drinking every night just because you want to be in a higher vibration. Be like, oh, I don't like this. All right, I'm gonna raise my vibration. I'm gonna go out with my friends and get drunk every night. Like that's not what this is about necessarily. It's about taking your power back and doing it from like with consciousness, with awareness, with just the decision of like,
Yeah, to make a change. To
yes.
Yeah, so maybe kind of start to pay attention to your second chakra, like you said, just below your navel area, and just get a sense of, you know, if you're out and about and you're feeling a certain energy or emotion, just kind of get a sense of where's this coming from? You know, it might be in the building that you're in or environment or people around you. It could be someone long distance. And just recognize, wait a second, is what I'm feeling, you know, what is mine versus other people? So you can have that. You can just go, oh, wait, this is not mine. I can't really do much anything about this. I'm going to decide to drop it and just kind of feel kind of where I'm at. And wherever that at is totally fine. And if you want to climb up the ladder to Funzy Land, and that's a fun place to be. So
I like Funzy Land.
yeah. So, alrighty. Well, that was fun to kind of discuss, and we have plenty of other topics that kind of sprouted up in the midst of that. And
Absolutely.
we look forward to exploring these other topics with you. And we'll tune into you next, well, hopefully you're tuning into us next time.
We'll tune into you.
Yeah.
Let's not match in with others, shall we?
Yeah.
But yes, we're doing a podcast every week. We're gonna try to have new topics. And if you think of a topic you have a question about, always put it in the comments section. Like, if you know someone in your life that could really benefit from this video, share it with them. If this ain't for you and whatever, just scroll on, have a great day. And yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah, see you next time. Take care.